Hello everybody. Dungeon Draft has officially hit 1.0 and my original Dungeon Draft Basic series is almost a year old. Since then, both Dungeon Draft and my videos have had a glow up and I thought it was time to start fresh. This basic series is going to cover everything about Dungeon Draft in video form and in article form. So if you hate watching videos, get off of YouTube, you dummy. You're in the wrong place. And go down in the description where you can find a link to encounterlibrary.com and read about how to use Dungeon Draft with accompanying screenshots and WebIMs. The articles will be updated as Dungeon Draft changes and should always be up to date. Personal shilling aside, let's get started. When you first open up Dungeon Draft, this is the title screen you'll see. It has the version you're currently on, the developer Megasploots logo, and some menus. Up in the right-hand corner, you can tell whether or not there's a new update available. You can see mine says update to date, so I'm all set. But if you need to update, there will be a link which will take you to Humble Bundle, where you can get the latest version. Across the top, you've got your basic menu options. Some of them are for when you're working on a map, so they're grayed out for now. In the menu section, you can open any maps you were recently working on from the Open Recent dropdown. Preferences lets you control some different settings like how many times you can hit undo, automatic backups, backup frequency, how many backups are kept, whether to log errors, if Dungeon Draft should snap at each half square or only each whole square, your custom font directory, and when Dungeon Draft should give you a full-size preview of the object you're hovering over. Personally, I like to get the full-size preview instantly, so I drop this from 0.2 to 0, but you can change it to your preference. Next in the menu is the option to edit object tags. This loads in the hundreds of Dungeon Draft base assets and lets you customize the way they're tagged or grouped into sets to make finding them easier. You can either create a custom tag file manually or hit the override button and get the option to create a custom one with the default tags pre-applied. After that is Open User Folder, which takes you to your Dungeon Draft user data and is a quick way to access your backups. Below that is the Package Custom Assets option, which you can use to turn a properly configured folder of assets into a Dungeon Draft asset pack. You can click into the step-by-step guide for instructions and check out an example template as well. Lastly, we have an option to exit Dungeon Draft. We'll get to the new button up top here in a moment, but first, Open lets you open any existing Dungeon Draft maps you want to keep working on, and the next 4 buttons are grayed out since these are for use while you're making a map, but to quickly summarize, Save saves the map as a Dungeon Draft file for future editing. Export lets you save it as different file formats, including PNG, JPEG, or a VTT file format that contains information on walls, doors, lights, and windows. Then we have the Undo and Redo buttons, which are pretty self-explanatory. The next available button is Assets. One of the coolest parts of Dungeon Draft is all the custom assets you can import to give your maps a completely different look. But there's so much you can do here that it gets its whole own video, which you can find linked in the description. And lastly, there's the About button to check out the licensing info and all that good stuff. But for now, let's get back up to that new button and get started. When you go to create a new map, this window pops up with some basic settings. The main points of interest is how big the map will be. You can set a template based on different TV sizes, paper sizes for printing, or you can even create your own template if you make maps in a common size by hitting the plus icon. You can also enter your own width and height up to 128 by 128 tiles. If you're playing D&D 5e where each tile represents 5 feet, that means you can make a 640 by 640 foot map, which is pretty massive. Let's set this to a more manageable 40 by 30 for now. I'm going to check Start with Map Wizard so you can see what it does, but you can feel free to skip it. You can also select which custom asset packs you want to use in this map. This can speed up load times and make finding objects easier since you won't have to search through all your ship assets when you're making a desert map, for example. Now, let's hit OK, and you can see it generates this background for us to start on. Let's check out 2 more menu options before getting into the good stuff. Under Menu, there's a Change Map Size option, which you can use to make your map bigger or smaller in a certain direction. Then you have an option for Show Map Info, which will let you see the size of your map and the asset packs you're using. But before we dig into the Map Wizard, let's quickly cover the controls for moving around the canvas and controlling it. At the bottom, there are buttons to toggle on and off the grid, snapping, and lighting. You can also use the shortcut keys G, S, and L respectively. Grid makes the grid visible or invisible, Snap toggles whether objects and walls snap to the grid, and Lighting enables or disables Dungeon Draft's dynamic lighting. The little crosshairs button, or the H key as a shortcut, pops up a crosshair for finding specific coordinates. Be sure to keep an eye on the bottom of the Dungeon Draft window as you're working because it will list the shortcuts available for whatever tool you have selected. You can set a zoom level with the percentile dropdown or hold Control while scrolling to zoom in and out. The dropdown to the right of the zoom tool is the level of the map you're working on and is set to ground by default. You'll only need to mess with this if you're making a multi-level map, which we'll take a look at later. You can flip between levels with the up and down arrows to the right, or compare levels with the far right radio button. Lastly, to pan around the map, hold space and move your mouse. Now, let's take a look at the Map Wizard. The Map Wizard is a great tool that lets you randomly generate dungeons and cave systems. There are a few options here to control the randomized results you get. The boundary setting lets you pick how many spaces should be left empty around the edges of the map. So if you need some outdoor space on the outside of a castle, this makes sure you'll have it. Complexity makes the layout more complex, which means it will have more rooms and interconnecting hallways. Density changes how tightly packed together the rooms and halls are. You can also select what floors and walls you want the dungeon to generate with. When you click Generate at the bottom, it will randomly create a dungeon layout for you. You can even keep clicking Generate to create new random dungeons until you find one that you like. Let's quickly compare the complexity and density settings. With complexity turned down, you can see that the map it generated is more simple, with fewer connecting hallways and more simply shaped rooms. With complexity raised up, lots of the rooms have multiple entrances and exits and connect to each other in a more labyrinthine way. If we drop density down, it creates a more spaced out map, whereas having density up will make it very tight and compact. If you're looking to generate a cave instead of a castle or dungeon, just switch over to cave at the top. Similar controls apply, minus the walls and floor selection since, well, it's a cave. Like with the dungeons, you can keep generating until you find a layout you like. Keep in mind that for both the dungeon and caves, if you find one that's close but needs a little change here or there, you can easily make those changes once you're done with the Map Wizard. We'll go over how to create new layouts and change existing ones in the next video. When you're all set, hit Finish and it will bring you to the main map editor. If you don't want to use the Map Wizard and want to skip right ahead to making your stuff by hand, this is where you would start. Now we have a whole bunch of map making tools to dig into. In the next video, we'll be getting into the design tools, which cover everything from creating buildings to adding walls, doors, windows, roofs, patterns, and caves to your map. I'll see you in the next one.